Look at that. Isn't that amazing looking? Breathtaking. Space Mountain, the submarines, monorail, Innoventions. Wow. Let's just take a second and look at that beautiful soft sunset. Oh, here it comes. Submarines. It's a sometimes vlog. It's a vlog that happens sometimes. I didn't even want to pull away for the intro too long. That's how breathtakingly beautiful this site is here at Disneyland. Look at that. The mighty, mighty Matterhorn rising 157 feet above the plains of Tomorrowland and Fantasyland. Look at all this. Look at all of this wonderfulness here. Yes, we know it's yours. We don't live here. You live here. I'd like to live here. I am here all the time. This actually makes me think it's always good to take a pause, take a brief pause, take a moment, and appreciate things like this. Now, my life is a little bit weirder than most people's lives because I guess, you know, I get to come to Disneyland quite a lot. 3 to 4 times a week, roughly. People ask that all the time. About 3 or 4 times a week I am here, if not more sometimes. And of course, sometimes I'm traveling around and I'm here less. And I don't always appreciate the fact that I get to come, pop in to a wonderful place where some people have to save up and work really hard their entire lives to come to. But similarly, I think that other people have many crazy blessings in their own lives that they don't appreciate. For example, I am totally alone. At night, when I go home, I lay down by myself. Some people don't have that. Some people have big families. They get to do big family events. They do all kinds of things like that. Some people have a lot of really close friends. Some people have really fancy cars. Some people have nothing at all. But I generally tend to think that there's something always to be grateful for in our lives that we probably do not appreciate. It would be really easy to focus on the things I don't have, the things I haven't learned, the places I haven't been, and forget that I get to come someplace literally magical almost on a daily basis. So every once in a while I like to take a pause and reflect on the glory that is the wonder, that is the majesty of this awesome place that I grew up right next to. And so sometimes I take a lot of it, just the fact that I live close to it even, for granted. Now, on the flip side of that, I do pay handsomely to come to Disneyland so much in the form of an annual pass, which I'm able to use 365 days per year. It's the really coolest part about Disneyland is if you get the extreme annual pass, unless the park actually closes, which is very, very rare, assassination of presidents or crazy earthquakes, things like that, unless the park is actually closed in general, 365-day access to Disneyland. Look at all these people. They come from all over. This guy came directly from the ranch to Disneyland. Well, he might have just actually cruised over from Frontierland. We would have no way of knowing. Anyway, I was just tripping out on that. So, yes, I paid for the annual pass to come to Disneyland, but the fact that I was so close, it just makes me appreciate how lucky I am, which feels good. Don't get me wrong, I, like everyone else in the world, take the good things in my life for granted sometimes, but when I see stuff like this, wow, hold on a second, I'm a little shaky hands. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I also take this for granted. Ah, Innoventions. Innoventions. In 1998, Disneyland gave Tomorrowland a huge makeover. Well, really more like 96, 97. Tomorrowland got a huge, massive makeover. It reopened in 1998 as another new Tomorrowland. Only this Tomorrowland, rather than being even more futuristic, was sort of a little bit more alternative, future looking. Most of it has been undone now. So Space Mountain is once again white. In 1998 was well, Google it. It was a very strange coppery kind of color. Almost the entire, hey, how's it going? Yes. High five, yes, did you see that? Almost the entire Tomorrowland was very steampunk looking. And one of the only, other than the Observatron here, which replaced the People Mover loading platform and stood on top of the short-lived Rocket Rods attraction, one of the only sort of pieces of that very gold tinted future that's left is Innoventions. I can't think of anything else. Rocket rods came in at that time. The People Mover left. Music was added to Space Mountain, which is still there. I think that was when the music was added. I'm pretty sure. The Utopia loading platform completely changed, but Utopia, the ride itself, pretty much more or less the same. Chevron sponsored it at that time. I don't think Chevron sponsors the Utopia any longer. Those little Chevron cars inside don't actually, I think, talk about Techron anymore, but they're still sort of in there, so you can still catch the Chevron heavy references. But this here, Innoventions, is pretty much the only true 1998 piece left. And sadly, or not sadly, depending on your point of view, Luke, you're going to find that many of the truths we cling to depend entirely on our point of view, is closing. Soon, Innoventions will be a thing of the past. The downstairs, oh, here we got Tomorrowland stage, kicking off a concert, so it's gonna get a little noisy, so maybe we should go inside. The downstairs of Innoventions is entirely closed already. It was home to the Innoventions Dream Home. Closed. For the last week or two, that has been gone. We did get the Innoventions Dream Home on the Sometimes vlog, I think a couple of times with Tyler and with Adam the Woo. So if you go back to older Sometimes vlogs, I apologize for the loudness of this 80s movie. Radio star, radio killed the radio star. Anyway. I can't help it, it's just so loud, it's right there. Look at the guys who are wearing Devo hats. What are you gonna do? Look at this beauty. I'm gonna take a pause from talking, you can just listen to that and look at this. Pretty awesome, sorry. Pretty awesome, I was holding up that huge line there. Anyway, the Innoventions Dream Home was sort of kind of like the House of the Future from the 60s in that it displayed a lot of products you could put into your home now. See, look at, here we go. There's another piece of 1998. The 1990s Utopia loading platform. Anyway, it's gone now, but if you go back to the other Sometimes vlogs, you can see what was downstairs. They're hindbucking me. Quite a loud noise there, DJ. They're hindbucking me with the volume of that classic 1980 song. Do you know who did that song originally? No Googling. Anyways, now the word on the street, the word on Main Street is Innoventions is soon to close. So, all of the fantastic stuff upstairs in Innoventions is going to go away as well. Which means this is our last chance to take a peek at what's left of the future in 1998. So as you can see here, there's an ad for the Dream Home downstairs with some of the many corporate sponsors who put some of their technology into said Dream Home. It's so loud out there. Woo! Look at this. So the Innoventions Dream Home downstairs, under construction, going away, ostensibly forever. In 1998, when you were first coming into Innoventions, rather than having all this really cool Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man stuff, which I think we've showed you before on the Sometimes vlog, we've looked at that together before, there was actually a whole bunch of products, way more stuff like Honda has, what the heck is the name of that robot? Asimo. Asimo? Is that how you pronounce that? Asimo? Hey, there's children around here. Asimo. There were all kinds of video game displays, much like they have Xbox stuff here now. There was a lot more focus on technology, new stuff. There were even concept cars and different artwork featuring futuristic products. Some of that stuff remains. For example, Xbox Connect has had displays upstairs and downstairs here. You have all kinds of different Siemens has a huge display here. Project Tomorrow, inventing the wonders of the future. And there's, like I just mentioned, the Xbox stuff. Honda still has Asimo, the robot over there. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I don't know. Because then I think of Asimov, I think of Isaac Asimov, and of course robots and stuff like that. And maybe that's why Asimo's name is Asimo. I have absolutely no idea. I should have probably Googled that at some point in my life, but I haven't. Anyway, oh look it. Disney Infinity characters right there. Now we have Thor, we have Iron Man, where you can suit up as Iron Man, sort of like you used to do the dance thing downstairs with Xbox. Movie props. movie props, Marvel movie props. Here you can marvel at the Marvel movie props. So here's the entrance to the suiting up thing with Iron Man. Of course, they have all the props from Iron Man, all the suits. But by and large, for those of you who are used to this Innoventions, being the home, look at this, being the home of the Marvel tie-ins, movie props, and sort of a lot of video game related material, it doesn't really look much like it did in 1998. In 1998, it was much more like going to a car show or a convention or a trade show or something like that, where it was displaying new technology. This did have a link to the past in that when Disneyland opened in the 1950s and 60s, we're gonna have to be loud again. When Disneyland opened in the 1950s and 60s, half of Tomorrowland was devoted to displaying new technologies in plastics and agriculture and home improvements, vis-a-vis the home of the future, sponsored by Monsanto, the Monsanto Hall of Chemistry. Chemistry was very futuristic still at that time, and in that place, well, in this place, I'm digging the 80s stuff. I love that. We like the wolf. Is it one specific wolf, or is it hungry like any wolf? Curious. Anyway, that was sort of our last peek, because pretty soon Innoventions is going to be closed altogether. They still want to have the Marvel tie-ins up here, and I apologize for the shakiness and the crudity of this vlog. I had no idea that band was going to start playing when I started the vlog. I did not have time to build the scaler to paint it. Anyway, so I just wanted to come in there and take a last look, potentially last look, maybe we'll pop in again, at this crazy building. Now, in the 60s, this was the Carousel of Progress Theater, home to Carousel of Progress, the very same Carousel of Progress, which is now in the Magic Kingdom in Florida. Hey, thank you, Jeff. Which was built for the 1964 question mark World's Fair in New York. Pretty sure 64, but my brain is not mathing the computations of math correctly today at all. Why am I wearing sunglasses? I don't need these anymore. I am Tyler Evans apparently, and I need to wear my sunglasses all the time. Anyway, so that was built for the Carousel of Progress. Later it became a theater for a show called America Sings, which tied into the bicentennial, with all kinds of dancing and singing characters that you're very familiar with, in that they're all pretty much inside Splash Mountain now, or located inside of what other attraction? There's a little trivia for you. What other attraction features, I think specifically, two geese from the original America Sings show that are repurposed as animatronics or something else? I'll give you a little hint. We're standing very close to it. Two of those animals from America Sings did not move very far away. Anyway, Innoventions. What I was going to say about Innoventions is that I never really appreciated it in its time. It was not always my favorite thing. It was a little bit like going with your parents to go window shopping. There was Space Mountain, there was Star Tours, there was the Rocket Rods attraction here, and then there was Innoventions. When I was a kid, in the late 1990s, and Innoventions was new, all the parents thought, this is great, this will be a great thing. Oh, hello. This will be a great, awesome thing. Let's take the kids in there, we'll look at the stuff, we'll see all kinds of stuff. Hi, how's it going? Hi. What's your name? Alexander. Hi, Alexander. Yes. It's nice to meet you. You too. Thought it would be a really cool thing to take you inside of Innoventions and show you all the wonderful futuristic products. Like that was gonna blow our minds. We walked in there, awesome, what kind of futuristic products do we get to see? Sometimes there were robots and different things on display that were kind of interesting. But by and large, I don't think as a child or a teenager I was very interested in new granite countertops or things of that nature. So Innoventions kind of fell flat for me. I'm not all that sorry to see Innoventions go. Not that Innoventions was ever bad, it sort of had its moment in the sun, and I feel like it limped on way longer than it needed to. I usually don't wax very negative about Disneyland. I'm not being negative about it because I do think that it was genius for them to put in all the Marvel stuff. That was awesome. Because who doesn't love seeing the movie props from those awesome movies? And if you've got the space for it, which they do, why not put it there? A lot of people, including me, thought when they were announcing the idea for building the Walt Disney Family Museum, We all thought it would be really amazing if the Walt Disney Family Museum ended up inside Innoventions at Disneyland. But I think that would have been a huge mistake, because then you would have to pay to get in the park to go see it, whereas now the Walt Disney Family Museum exists all by itself, independently. People can go there all by themselves. Why are people always trying to jump in? Why do they want you to see them so much? It doesn't, I don't really mind. It's just a curious thing, isn't it? There they go. They got their moment. They got their moment in the vlog. Everybody wants to hang out with you guys. You guys are getting more and more popular every day. I'm pleased that I can be your friend. Anyway, Innoventions. It's been on my mind because people keep pointing it out to me. Did you know Innoventions is closing? Yes, I do. But Innoventions and I have come to a rough understanding over the years that we're not best friends. But that doesn't mean we have to be enemies. We're still buddies. Anyway, the Walt Disney Family Museum, amazing. I'm glad that it's independent. It's run completely independently of the theme parks, because it has a very special quality to it that makes you focus more on the man and less on it being sort of something neat to look at while you're on vacation, which is, at the best of times, what Innoventions really was. Now, there's probably some people who are huge, massive Innoventions fans who remember every little detail of every little display that was in Innoventions. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I rarely, if ever, went into that building during the original era of Innoventions at all. I've gone in it more times in the last 2 years since they have the Iron Man stuff and the Dream Home downstairs and all that stuff, mostly to find an outlet to charge my phone or, you know, to check out Iron Man suits and things like that, than I had ever gone into it before. Now, as far as the rumors, don't you just love that? That's been here forever. I love that. These came later. I also love these, though. Look at those flying saucers. There's a little bit of a tie-in, because the old Tomorrowland flying saucers were located pretty much within spitting distance of where those flying saucers are hanging. But that is a whole separate subject, which is under construction soon in a more random landy format. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, I rarely, if ever, went in there. As to the rumors of what's replacing Innoventions, I highly doubt that they're going to tear down the entire building. It is, after all, a very, very massive structure, and it seems like it would be quite a waste of energy to replace it with a building that would more or less just take up the same footprint. But in terms of what I've heard so far from the rumors, because people always ask me, what's replacing it? Well, I do not work for the Walt Disney Company. I have absolutely no way of knowing for sure. But I do know a lot of people who work for the Walt Disney Company, and I do know a lot of crazy, rabid theme park fans, specifically a lot of Disney experts. I would never call myself a Disney expert. I'm just a massive fan of Disneyland. But I do know quite a few people, and all I can say is that all the rumors that I've heard involve, well, let's just make the clue this way. Upwards of $4 billion Disney spent on a certain franchise, which they now own. So the rumor is that there'll be a little bit of a tie-in with something they spent quite a lot of money on. If you missed last night's Sometimes vlog, I'm a little tired and groggy today because I was up all night afterwards doing some work at home. But I was also out very late at night last night with Tyler Evans, rock journalist, and our new friend Ernie, who took us to a haunted mansion in the city of Santa Ana known as the Waffle House. So we were exploring that on the Sometimes vlog last night. The night before that was Friday the 13th into 14th, Saturday the 14th. So we went on a ghost tour of Orange, the Orange Circle as I call it, or the Orange Plaza as it's technically called. Look at, is that one of the Sisters of Mercy? Possibly. Also on an unrelated note, or on a related note to that, but unrelated to me going to a haunted ghost walking tour or a haunted mansion, I'm very skeptical, about all that kind of stuff. There's a religious education conference going on, I think, at the Anaheim Convention Center today. I think that's what it was. But there's, she announced what she was doing as she did it. Fortunately, I'm not taking a picture, so she was incorrect as to what kind of bombing she was doing. Careful using that word. You can't use the word bomb on an airplane. There's some kind of religious conference going on over there, so there's all kinds of interesting monks, nuns, crazy outfits going on over there. So it's actually pretty fascinating and interesting to see all the different people outside of the park, much less in the park. So one thing I love about living in Anaheim and going to Disneyland my whole life is that I don't really have to travel the world to meet all kinds of different people. The people of the world come to us in Anaheim, which has always been fascinating. I can't tell you the number of weird conversations I've had with Japanese tourists or people from the Middle East or all over the world. So that part is really cool. Another thing that I should probably be grateful for is I've met people from all over the world who speak all kinds of crazy languages and all kinds of wacky fashions, and it kind of shrinks all of your prejudices while you're really young to see that all the time. You just sort of take it for granted that there's more than one life. There's more than one way to live. There's more than one way to think about things. So it makes you very, very open-minded. It's very easy if you lived in one town, in one place, with one type of person and one type of people, a homogenous group of people, to just sort of think that it's your way or the highway, everybody else is weird or wrong. But I've sort of learned, thanks to Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom, where people from all over the world come and play, I've learned that we all sort of play the same way. And at the end of the day, we're all very, very alike, even though we look a lot different and have a lot of different priorities. There are a lot of different kinds of lives. But I'm actually very grateful for the fact that through Walt Disney's world of imagination, I've become a citizen of the world, or at least it feels that way sometimes. I don't even remember what we were talking about, other than the last piece of 1998 is finally leaving us. Oh, 98, you were a good year, I suppose, but you have to go. The last child of 98, going quietly into the night. Oh, gently into the night. Will you miss Innoventions? Were you a big Innoventions fan? I don't mean now with the Marvel stuff. That stuff is awesome, and I'm sure that there will be some other way to tie in the Marvel stuff, either at DCA or here at Disneyland. I'm sure there's all kinds of amazing Marvel stuff coming along. But other than the more modern stuff, I'm talking more about the late 90s, early 2000s, Innoventions as a display for technology, all the companies coming in, doing the corporate sponsorships. Were you a big fan of that? Did it intrigue you? I can only speak for myself that it did not intrigue me as much as riding on Space Mountain did, or the rocket rods, or anything really as a kid. Innoventions was definitely low down on my list. Having said that though, I don't mean to give people the impression who never saw it that it was bad. If Innoventions had been anywhere else, I would have loved to go to Innoventions and check out all the stuff inside. It's just that when it was at Disneyland, I'm always one of those people, or was one of those kids really, who was like, I need to get on the rides. Now that I'm a little older, I like to wander around and check out all the little details. I like to sit and people watch. I like to check out all the little historical elements of Disneyland. I love to see different technological things. So I would appreciate Innoventions, I think, much more now if it were like it were then than I did then. Even though if it were like it were now back then, I probably actually really would have liked it, because sitting up like Iron Man is kind of amazing. Does that make sense? I think so. Anyway, I'm going off into the darkness. I hope this sometimes vlog reaches you before midnight like last night's did. So I'm gonna go try to find some Wi-Fi and upload it. If I cannot do that until nighttime, I apologize that it arrives to you a little bit late. As my good friend Adam the Woo pointed out with his Daily Woo, a vlog that he films every single day. Much like him, I try to upload the video the same day something happens. Most of the big vloggers or YouTubers actually film their thing the day before. As Adam explained in one of his videos, I think the one entitled, You Can't Please Everyone, a lot of people will film their Christmas video on December 24th, and they'll upload it December 25th, and that way they make sure they have it. Both of us, as far as I know, it's only us, so there's a few other people, try to film and upload the vlogs the very same day. So sometimes I miss it. It has to come after midnight once I get home, so it technically does land on the next day. But I always try to say what day it is when I film it. How's it going? Yeah, sure. Can you give me like 1 second though? Yeah. By the way, what's your name? Oh, he's shy. Okay, I'll be right back. Anyway, we try to upload the same day. Y'all kind of see it. Another thing I really like is meeting new people, new friends. If you ever come up to me while the Sometimes vlog is happening, I will probably move past you. But as soon as I stop, I will try to find you and make it up to you. Thank you all for watching the Sometimes vlog. I don't know when this will reach you. If you watch all the way into the end, you remember what the code word is, right? Leave the code word in the comments down below. I'll see you guys later. I love you. Subscribe for some more if you haven't already. Hit me up on Twitter at Justin Scard, or on Instagram at Justin Scard, or also at LiveFastLivePoor at both of those. I do see those as well, but mostly the at Justin Scard. And let me know what you think of Innoventions. Not only what you think of Innoventions or thought of Innoventions, what do you think is replacing it? What rumors have you heard? I like rumors. Also, if you have any cool Episode 7 Star Wars rumors, let me know as well. I haven't seen all of those yet. I haven't seen all of the rumors. No, never mind. I don't want any spoilers, do I? I might. Anyway, love you guys. Talk to you later.